So Justified, Tony Khan tweeted this out during All Out. Justified, this is murder chants for the coffin match. Darby versus Moxley. Stream on Max right now. This is the family-friendly show. Justified, this is murder chants. Jeepers, man. Doesn't even drop an in Minecraft after? How you get away with that? So ahead of All Out in Toronto, I wanted to watch this before All Out, but we just didn't have the time because that was a long-ass stream. But AEW stars give their honest opinion on famous Canadian snacks. So let's take a look here. I'm a fellow Canuckian, so I know what it's all about to eat snacks up here, buds. So let's check it out.
Like hickory sticks. They're like the bottom of the bag of chips. What are you talking? I want a whole chip.
I'm not going to lie. Hickory sticks are super mid.
We're in Canada, folks, so we're trying Canadian foods, snacks, stuff.
I'm well versed in these, at least some of them. I don't know if you've ever had any of these.
I never tried
Let's
before.
try this one first.
Okay.
Okay, coffee crisps, pretty bomb. But here's the thing. You like them when you're a kid. You like them when you're a kid because it's the idea of like, ooh, coffee. But then when you get older, you're like, well, this tastes like, I need a stronger brew, pal, a darker brew. Right?
Coffee crisps. Big fan of coffee. Said that weird. Let's say.
Oh.
That was pretty sus.
Whoa.
Pretty sus.
You see that mouth? Actually, I like the really like cheap wafer cookies when you're a kid, like the strawberry.
Yeah, I love those too.
Chocolate vanilla. This reminds me of that mixed with like a Kit Kat.
Kind of tastes like a Kit Kat. I'll give it a thumbs up.
That's how you do a wafer.
So they didn't even really give like hot takes, man. So poutine ruffles. Here's the thing. Nobody likes this. Nobody's eating poutine ruffles, okay, buds? With ruffles, you get the all dressed. That's what you do with ruffles, okay? You get the all dressed. Sometimes they might have like a barbecue flavor or something, but poutine chips is like, no, we just eat poutine, you know?
Under penalty of deportation, eating snacks. These are poutine chips.
Ruffles, poutine. Oh, I'm definitely not going to like this.
Canadian chips are like ketchup chips, chicken chips, or all dressed chips. Poutine chips, man, that's like gimmicky. We don't really eat that.
Dante had poutine last night, and he was in the bathroom for 3 hours, so I hope that isn't my fate after eating these.
It kind of tastes like soy sauce. It tastes like if there was a soy sauce chip.
Very gravy taste.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's good.
It's pretty good.
Now, hickory sticks, they're decent, but not one of my favorite. Like they're pretty mid, I won't lie.
Hickory sticks, original. Julien's a la hickory. Is that offensive?
Which look like little French fries. And I don't mind these.
They're like a smoky.
The problem is, yeah, exactly. What Bandito did, that's what happens. You just end up eating too much and you make a goddamn mess all over the place eating those things, but they're not bad. You know, they're just kind of I don't know. Again, it's some when you're a kid, you're like, oh, hickory sticks, and then you get older and you're like,
whole bag.
You end up eating too many, you know? You start pouring them in your mouth and all of a sudden your stomach's hurting. You're like...
They're a whole bag of the bottom of the chips.
Yeah, that's what it is, dude. Brody's got it. That's
this.
exactly what it is.
I'm not even going to dignify these.
Dude, don't.
Wait, we have a Canadian hero here. Come here. Come here, Cope. Yeah. Come here, Cope. Like hickory sticks. They're like the bottom of the bag of chips. What are you talking? I want a whole chip.
Which, like, the bottom of the bag of chips is oftentimes the best part, right? But when it's the whole bag of chips is the bottom of the bag, trust me, it's not the best part anymore. It's like AEW, right? You give me flips and pile drivers and through the tables and all this, and then come the main event, I don't want to see none of that. And then you're doing it, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess that's cool, I guess.
Also, what is
this would be cool in like an isolated incident here.
But there's ketchup chips? Oh, God, you guys are psychos. No wonder you guys are like the way you are.
Ketchup chips in the garbage. Amazing. Because I'm sure Max Caster couldn't get through this because he's a little.
Yeah. This one tastes like American cardboard. That's
Canada, yeah, eh?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Shout out the AEW roster there. So Glenn Gilberti had this to say about AEW. He says, the narrative on AEW isn't shtick. It's just a basic observation on a product that is only supported by a niche audience. If more people were attending their shows, following social media, etc., the basic observations would probably be more supportive. And then Raj Giri says, that's the thing. Dave keeps floating his narrative to keep hope alive, but the reality is that it's a product for a niche audience that keeps dropping. And that's all any of us are trying to say, but you just get called a fucking e-drone when you say shit like that. So Switchblade posts some numbers for All Out. Speaking of All Out, with the Mox Darby match finished, there are currently 2.1K people watching All Out on the YouTube pay-per-view stream. Do you know how fucking bad that is, guys? Okay, still 2.1K as Statlander beats Tony. Now, why do we bring these numbers? Oh, come on now, Phil. That's not very fair. It's YouTube. YouTube's the number one streamer, as we've chronicled, as we've documented, as we've discussed on this show innumerable times. It's the number one streamer, right? And as Switchblade has pointed out, when you have whatever numbers in the chat, like unless they're just uber sickos who like ordered the pay-per-view and then are also just in the YouTube chat to hang out with people, maybe that's a thing, right? But chances are, if you're in the chat, and I'm not sure, I've asked this question a billion times and I'm sure people have told me and I just poop the answer out of my brain because it's sort of irrelevant. But okay, do they close off the chat to people unless you buy the pay-per-view? Then that only enhances the validity of my argument, right? But I'm arguing, and what Switchblade would argue is that like the people in the chat, the vast majority of them during the pay-per-view likely bought the pay-per-view on YouTube and are talking in the chat. So, 2K throughout, as trends would indicate, as Switchblade has posted before, I think it was for All In, they had like 9.6K people watching. And so All Out had 2.1. Like that's low compared to even, I think, Forbidden Door, Switchblade pointed out as well. He might have had a follow-up post that's in these bookmarks, but just the interest in All Out was at an all-time low. I just, like, the build was terrible. We're about to look at some of the matches. Well, we started this segment. Let's just take a look. All of a sudden, Tony goes, hey, man, in a World Championship Open Challenge, the ROH Pure Champion Lee Moriarty versus Hangman Page. Like, what kind of shit booking is this? What kind of absolute shit booking is this? The best guy is Tony Khan! There's no follow-up. There's no intrigue. They couldn't have pile-driven Beth Phoenix on this show to have me watch this show. Give us something to talk about. I just don't understand. And so all of a sudden, Tony's just like, here's this match, a world title match, Hangman versus Lee Moriarty. Bro, we can't believe in this product when you keep doing this shit. We can't. This is just repetitive, last minute, not thought out. You're sleeping all day, waking up at 11:30, last minute, getting yourself together, getting 2 shots of espresso, and fucking writing this shit out last minute and just wiping your ass basically and putting it on paper. It's not going to work. There's just zero interest. Why would that make? Oh, they're going to have a banger. Okay, what the fuck? Lee Moriarty shouldn't be having bangers with Hangman. The story of the Fletcher match shouldn't be, oh my God, and look how good Fletcher did. And then Lee Moriarty comes in. And then it's like, oh my God, look how good Lee Moriarty did. That's the story of every match. Hangman's done this 17 times with guys already. It's just repetitive and hack. And then the major announcement. What's the major announcement? A tournament, a title. Guys, if you're on X, there's almost 300 of you watching on X and YouTube. Come on over to youtube.com/@ProWrestleClips. Vote in the poll. What do you think Tony Khan's major announcement will be? Collision's canceled. 3rd hour to Dynamite. A women's tag title division. Women's tag titles or a tournament. And if you want, you can hit all of the above. Just write that in the chat. You can't add a 5th option, but it could be all of those things, okay? Do you think Jack Harlow should let AEW use Lovin' on Me? So Jack Harlow turned down Tony Khan's request to use Lovin' on Me for entrance song. I wonder who advised him not to do that. You want to hold out for WWE, man, and the stars know that. Has Jack Harlow kind of fallen off, though? I think he may have. So I posted this. I saw this on Instagram, and I screen grabbed it. This is Tate Twin Brandon. And so we talked about this a long time ago when it comes to the Tate Twins and what happened between them and Tony Khan and all this shit. And there's just a lot of like fucked up narrative out there. Like, man, they posted all of their texts back and forth publicly, and then they deleted them all. So like, I understand if people didn't see them all and shit to get the context, but you can clearly see we broke it down on the show. I believe we read them all on the show, so they may exist on my podcast in some capacity. Listen, at the end of the day, when people are like, dude, the Tates no-showed on their event in Tony, that's not what happened, okay? That just isn't what happened. So there was them ask, just to summate this really quickly, they are asking all week. We saw the texts, we read them. They're asking like all week if they need to be booked. They get let known at like the 0 hour, like Thursday or whatever, that they're needed in Canada the weekend coming up or whatever. They're like, yeah, fine, we're whatever. They get sent flight information for the first time ever in their history of working with Ring of Honor, Sinclair or Tony Khan. They were required to drive to Nashville. So they hit up AEW and went, hey, why we never have, like, that's why we live in this area. I think they live in the Louisville area. A lot of wrestlers do, because their airport there, I think, travels to a lot of places or whatever the fuck. I'm not sure. Someone could correct me on that, but I'm pretty confident that's why, there's a lot of like pro wrestler action going on around there. I digress though. They were like, hey, we always fly out of Louisville or wherever they're from. Sorry, I might be fucking up the town. Either way. We're not driving to Nashville, or we don't drive to Nashville. And then this is what happened, man. AEW told them, we'll get you new flight info. And they waited up and followed up until like midnight. And they didn't get any new flight info. And then the people are like, hey, you no-showed and all this shit. And then, they were texting with who I believe was Mega. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess. And she was like, well, you guys should have rented a car, because they're like, we fly out of here and you guys know we don't have a good car. And these texts were all public. And they said, no, we're not. Last time we rented a car and we brought the receipt in to get reimbursed, we got like bitch stats. So we just didn't want to like cause a problem or whatever. Right. And it just seemed like a lot of poor communication. And I will say this on the Tate Twins' end. They're like they were messaging people from each of their shits. So that can get confusing, like, are you speaking on behalf of both of you guys? Or it sucks when you're a twin act, but so I will say that, but ultimately though, this is what it boils down to, like, whether that was fucked what they did on their end, like AEW and them, this was in the text. They were like, we'll DM you with new flights or whatever. And then they never did that. So like, okay, yeah, it's fucked. They didn't like, at the end of the day, if your boss is like, oh, I don't know, just go over there. And then you go over to where he tells you to go. And then it's like, oh, why'd you go over there? Essentially, they said, we're going to get you new flight info. So whether they needed to reprimand them or give them shit or whatever, at the end of the day, as soon as you're told you're getting flight info, it's like CM Punk. Like, CM Punk had to hop on the train. We're not like, well, it's unprofessional if he didn't show up at the building and was late, and if he didn't show up on time, would we be blaming Punk? We fucking wouldn't, man. They left him there. Someone said he was getting picked up. He never got picked up. It's the same thing with them. They were told. Now, they deleted this shit, and I'm sorry if I'm rehashing it. I know they got a fucking legal thing going on, but hey, man, that's what happened. So, that's what happened. You guys can go back. I covered this before. You can probably just type it in on my channel, Tate Twins. There's a clip of it, of me going over all this stuff, okay? So they post this. They're supposed to take on the Outrunners at ECC. Now, there's more to this, okay? I'm diving in deeper. I got an allegedly here, okay? I'm diving in deeper than anybody else will with this. Remember, keep this in the back of your minds as well. The Tate Twins, before they jumped off X, they were like, yeah, and Dalton Castle's fucking trashed us on Wrestle Talk. Support Wrestle Talk. He like took a shot at them and they clipped it and put it out there, right? And they were like, yeah, this guy like damaged us too or whatever. And here I'll say this. I don't think it does the Tate Twins any favors being lumped in with Kevin Kelly's shit as well. I think these are two completely separate issues that need to be handled separately, but I digress. I'm not a legal guy. I'm not Stephen P. News, so perhaps other people know better than I. But keep the Dalton Castle stuff in the back of your mind, okay? So the boys here. It was announced that my brother and I were returning to the ring after being away for 2 years. Today, I was informed that Tony Khan and All Elite Wrestling had removed the opponents from our match that was supposed to take place next weekend. Now, that's Tony Khan's prerogative. That is his prerogative. But again, all this bullshit you hear, it's Tony McCon. All that bullshit you hear, don't buy into all that. Not only are they causing issues to continue outside of AEW, where we no longer work in our personal life, but affecting the independent promotion, wrestlers, fans, and everyone involved or planned on attending the show next weekend. Yeah, that sucks. I also heard that like a bunch of people pulled off this show or something like that. Maybe that's bullshit too. It's just, I don't know. I didn't fucking I didn't call up the promotion and ask questions or whatever, but the Tates say, my brother and I have grinded for almost 2 years trying to get our life back from the hole they left us in. We're finally able to return to wrestling and make a little money for ourselves and try and bounce back. This dude has ruined over nearly 2.5 decades of one of the best companies to ever exist in professional wrestling, Ring of Honor. No lies detected, and is now pulling talent from the independents. I mean, he's been doing that this whole time. Just to get his way, but claiming his roster are independent contractors. Right, that's all of wrestling, though, baby. You know, that's what fucking Jesse Ventura tried to do in the 80s, bro. This doesn't work out for many people, but he says, or the twins say, I hope he realizes the company he once praised about changing wrestling for the better for everyone is going completely backwards. Yeah, dude, Ring of Honor is cooked, and this will one day all catch up to him. I apologize on behalf of my brother and ECC Wrestling for anyone looking forward to seeing us wrestle and giving ECC Wrestling a bad rep like they did the both of us. I mean, that is a bad look on TK, however they want to spin that. However you want to spin that. And I just said, remember when folks said these guys just didn't show up to work? They've been dealing with fuck shit for years. Nobody talks about it because it doesn't fit the Fed bad narrative. And that's the truth. I mean, if this was WWE doing some shit like this, people would be losing their minds if they were doing that on WWE IDs and shit. Speaking of losing your minds about WWE, WWE is accused of buying out AEW All Out seats to make the arena look empty. Come on, man. It's always conspiracy theories. It's always a crock of shit. Oh, yeah. So one thing, though, with the boys, right? So allegedly. So just something someone said to me. There's some type of blow up between Tony Khan and Dalton Castle, allegedly. You know, people are talking about it. Some sort of blow up. Dalton, of course, made his quote unquote return to AEW. I'm not a dirt sheet. That could just be fake. I could have just made that up. I don't know. But Dalton it just came back, and all he's really done is been in vignettes, and they haven't really used him. And I mean, he got big pops when they first brought him in, and then I don't know, man. Dalton's a guy that really, really got fumbled by AEW, I think, because I'm sure he had a choice of whether he wanted to sign on with Tony longer or go and try his hand in WWE. I'm sure there was an option on the table for that. And he stuck it out with TK, and he ain't getting used. And just remember, like, Dalton's willing to like call out the Tate Twins while they're fucking on TV together or whatever on Wrestle Talk. So there's some guys in the biz who like don't give a shit and will call Tony on his shit, you know, Jonathan Gresham being one of them, right? That's why he's super over with me. No, he's a great wrestler too, but again, it's just conspiracy theories and no one taking accountability at the end of the day, and a bunch of backstage bullshit. AEW has filed to trademark The Demand, which is the alleged name of Gates of Agony and Ricochet. They could just be called Gates of Agony. I guess maybe you can just call them The Demand. And there's all these factions and sub-factions. It's just too goddamn much. But Ricochet at least is with two guys that I see an upside to if you push them. Tony Khan has an important announcement. We're going to get into that. All Out we talked about a little bit. And AEW Neckbeards posted a fan clip This was actually literally him in the crowd. No. And here's just an ugly ass spot, this table spot. This was the moment because I had both shows on, and at this point WWE was on and Brock and Cena were on, and I just really couldn't pay attention to Fletcher Hangman. But as I'm glancing over, this was the spot where I'm like, okay, for fuck's sakes. Like, we've seen guys get lit on fire, coffins, tacks, and tables. We don't need like regular tables in a match where this should be like a DQ or a double count out. You know, it's just too much, but it's just dangerous and shitty, you know?
Don't do it! Don't on the table! Don't do it! Don't do it! No!
So there you go. Moving along here. Speaking of AEW All Out, there was a funny announcement, or story rather, not announcement. My head's flooded. What could this announcement be? But before we get to that, on Reddit, on the r/squared circle, a fellow Canadian posted this: AEW All Out, stinky experience. Please shower before events. And it's like, man, we really got to still be having these conversations. So this guy says, this total giga Chad here says, me and my girlfriend had floor seats at All Out in the NE2 section during 0 hour. We were met with a pungent smell that became unbearable. She has slight sensory smell issues, so I understand. This guy's like, real poetic and shit. I can usually put up with something slightly uncomfortable, but man, I had not smelled something that pungent at a venue ever. It was so bad we had to go to fan services and request any possible alternative seating arrangement. We gave up our floor seats for worse seating with an obstructed view of the ring, because an obstructed view was a better alternative than having to put up with whatever that smell was. It's one of the guys that sicko had in his basement. He's got him on a leash. Coming from a trading card game where players will get disqualified at events for bad hygiene. I really wish that was something that would be implemented into concerts and shows. There's no excuse for anyone smelling that bad, to the point we had to give up the good seats we paid money for so that we could have a bearable experience for the next 5 to 6 hours. Please shower and wear deodorant. God damn it, man. Another one. And there's no way somebody took the time to write this well thought out, and they're just making it up. And there's been a bunch of stories like this from AEW shows. And yeah, man, even Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic card players and shit figured this out. Like, how have you guys not figured this out? Wash your ass, man. So Dave Meltzer had this to say, most seem to think it's Tony Khan's announcement, a women's tag team titles and a tournament. I don't know. He made women's tag title belts sometime back and said injuries delayed starting the tournament, Brian. So it'll likely just be that. Collision. Speaking of All Out, the Tailgate Brawl did 184,000 viewership, 0.04 in the key demo. The pre-show leading into, and then me and like 11,000 other people were watching YouTube and didn't get to see any of the pre-show. It was Renee Paquette and Daniel Bryan fucking talking, and nobody's like, oh, if you go to TNT, and it was like exclusive in America or some shit, the dumbest thing ever. And they had 184,000 and a 0.04, and then you had 2K watching on Twitter in the live chat. Or on Twitter, pardon me, YouTube, in the live chat for the pay-per-view is what I meant to say. I mean, I'm sure we could look up Google Trends. I would let someone else do it for me. I don't need to do it. I just know, okay? There was zero interest in this event. And, yeah, man. I mean, well, people just weren't awake yet, Brian. Like, what is the fucking excuse for that? So Darby Allin is doing Darby Allin shit again. And he's like, oh, hey, I'm Darby Allin. Welcome to Jackass. So he's like on this thing, and he's going to go flying in the air. Down, 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 bow, bow, bow. Take it down, 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 take it down. You're going to be dumb. You got to be tough.
Hey, it's...
I don't know, man. He's going to keep doing his thing, and Tony will just pay. Like, that's his investment. That's what to him, that's investing in wrestling. Let me just give a wrestler a bunch of money, and it helps absolutely nobody. Let me just give this guy a bunch of money. Like, let's not sink this money into like developing young talent somewhere. I'll just give it to this guy so he can like break his back doing some dumb shit, and then I'll just take care of his family forever. I mean, that's awfully generous, I guess, Tony, but jeepers creepers, where'd you get those peepers? WBD confirms that AEW will be holding a Tailgate Brawl event leading into Wrestle Dream on October 18th. So that'll be a B-Day party Wrestle Dream stream for PWT. AEW Saturday Tailgate Brawl Wrestle Dream 7 p.m. That's not my B-Day, but close enough. Okay, we'll celebrate good times. But yeah, I mean, that Tailgate Brawl will do terrible numbers probably. Wrestle Dream will be on at 8 p.m. And there you go, man. So there's the official announcement. Speaking of numbers, I thought WBD doesn't brag about numbers, but first 3 days view count on HBO Max, Superman 1.3 million. So crushed it. Superman crushed. Go watch the Donner films if you want the Donner film. People hated Christopher Nolan's Batman 2. People hated those movies too and were like, oh, they're fucking ruining Batman, man. Fucking deal with it, okay? This shit is good. I'm sorry. It was a good flick. I'm sorry Jor-El doesn't care about humans. I'm sorry. Why would he? He's an elitist alien. He cares about his son carrying on their fucking race. Sorry. I'm sorry. It was fucking different than you hoped. I'm sorry it wasn't the same as every other fucking Superman incarnation ever, and it's just a slight change that makes it more interesting, makes Superman more human, which is something that people have been unable to do for quite some time since the fucking Superman and Superman 2, you know? So speaking of Tony Khan, he announced that Katsuyori Shibata is medically suspended following his match against Daniel Garcia at the All Out Tailgate Brawl. I'm so glad. I just talked about this with Konoha. I'm like, just set up a fund. Tony Khan should set up like a museum and like a Hall of Fame and like a fund for retired wrestlers and stuff like that and legends. And he should just put on a yearly event where he books whatever legends he can and just like, and then, okay, Shibata wrestle one match a year and you just pay or something. That would just benefit pro wrestling, I think, way more than like him going out there and getting hurt wrestling Garcia into 180,000 people on TV. Who the fuck did that help? To .04 in the key demo. Who did that help?